Nostalgia is defined as a sentimental affection for a period of time in the past. I define it as a deep-rooted emotion that tends to cost petrolheads a lot of money. And nostalgia is what I'm blaming for my latest car purchase that I didn't really need.
I've owned many cars over the years, BMW E36, BMW E46, Honda S2000, many Saxos, and even a single turbo manual Mark IV Toyota Supra, but none of these gave me the fizz like my Civics, more specifically my Civic Coupes. I've owned some great examples and I vowed to own another, so what we have here today is a 1996 Honda Civic EJ2 Coupe.
Right, so what is the deal? Why is this car so special to me? And why have I called it my forever car? Now I know you're all probably thinking, oh, what about the MX-5? Yes, the MX-5 is my forever car. That car is not going anywhere. But apparently what I'm doing is slowly building up my dream garage, one that I'm going to keep forever. So let's go back to when I was 18, 19. Kenny at the time had an S13, really iconic. It's what I used to think of every time. Every time I think of Kenny's car collection, that's what I remember. And he was very lucky enough to have an amazing EJ2 as a daily driver. And when he came down to show it to me, I was instantly obsessed. I was hooked. I was obsessed with that car. To the point where every time I saw him thereafter, I told Kenny how obsessed with it I was. The modifications were unbelievable. It was so well done. And I pestered Kenny so much that he eventually turned around and said, fine, for the love of God, you can have it. Take it off my hands. I owned that car. I owned it for a while. And as I said, I loved it. And we actually I bought a Civic hatch, an EG hatch then with a B18 C4 with the intention of taking the engine out, putting it in the coupe. We did do that, but unfortunately where we were doing it, circumstances changed. Kenny and I didn't really have the knowledge to do the full engine swap. And again, because of circumstances, we had to stop the engine swap, but then not only stop the engine swap, I ended up actually scrapping that car. I've had a couple since, and for some reason or another, I've ended up selling them. And it's funny, ever since I've got with Georgia, my girlfriend, I have vowed that I will own another coupe one day. And that is the main reason she's been so supportive and would not let me let this one slip through. And now that I've got it, she says I better not sell it. So I can't sell it now, guys. So, how did it even come about? Well, funny story. For those that are joining us for the first time, Kenny and I run the channel. We started doing features. That's sort of what we were known for. We feature a lot of cars, modified cars. One of my good friends, Con, told me, when I bumped into him at the Nürburgring, he told me that he's actually bought a Civic Coupe. And obviously I was impressed, I was obsessed. And I said, please let me have a go. So we said, yeah, we'll organise a date when we can do a video. And he messaged me a couple of days ago saying, look, I'm looking at selling the car. Do you still want to do a video on it? And of course I said, yes, please let me do a video. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, ask him how much he wants for it. Even though I thought, no, I don't need it. Don't do it. I've got enough cars as it is. And then I told Georgia and she said, just ask him. You'll kick yourself if you don't. He agreed to give me an amazing deal on this car, knowing that it is a bit of a project car. He hadn't owned it long, so it went from me taking the car, and in fairness, Con said to me, keep it for a couple of days, do the video, do what you need to do, and then we'll talk numbers. So it's gone from me taking it for a video to me literally not giving him back. I spoke to him this morning, we've come to an agreement, and this is my Civic Coupe. Interesting things about this car. As you can see, visually it's not quite standard. Performance-wise, Con and I believe it is pretty standard. It's got a different exhaust on it. It's still got the standard airbox. But what Con did say is it's got a different ECU. I was skeptical because why would you change an ECU and nothing else? But what I remember from my other D15 B7 powered coupes is the power was very flat because they are non-VTEC. But what I found crazy with this one is the mid-range torque punch is definitely more prominent than I remembered it being in my ones. The pull is insane, and I absolutely adore the way these things handle. Are they fast? Relatively speaking, no, not in a modern world with 500-600 brake horsepower cars, but the handling on them is absolutely fantastic. And the great thing with this apparent aftermarket ECU is the rev limiter has been raised. Whew. The brakes are a bit spongy on this one, and we are running on Salem tyres at the front at the moment, so I'm not going to go too nuts with it, but initial impressions, as you can see from the underneath, it's got different lower control arms on the rear. It's not a few bits done to it underneath, but I absolutely love this car. So Con, if you're watching, you have made me very happy, and I've achieved one of my, I feel like I'm back where I belong, back in the Civic Coupe, one of my childhood dream cars. That one of those things you absolutely regret your whole life, and then all of a sudden someone gives you a lifeline and says, I can help you out. 7,000 RPM, or just over 7. I love this thing. As this is an EJ2 Civic, it's powered by a D15B7 engine. Another wicked feature I love about these generation Civic Coupes, you can actually put it almost the bonnet, almost vertical, makes it a lot nicer to work on. So D15B7, this is a 1.5 single cam, 16 valve, non-VTEC, so not like the hatch I've got. They were around 101, 102 horsepower. But as I said, with the ECU, I am going to look into it. I don't know if it's a completely standalone ECU, but back in these days, you could get them socketed and chipped, which I actually did to my previous one, so I will be looking into that. They are fantastic engines. They are so robust. They will take a beating all day long as you look after them and put oil in them. This one hasn't got aircon, like the hatch, but the beautiful thing is, yes, the idea is already in my head. If you've got aircon, you can't run a turbo. Without the aircon, you get a nice gap there for the turbo. And again, that goes back to the ECU. I should hopefully make it a bit easier if we are going to end up, if we do end up turboing it. Another quirky setup on the Civics of this generation, the gearbox is actually on the left-hand side, which is flipped for most cars. And the great thing about this is an identical setup to my hatch. And I've had that thing apart, so I know these things pretty well by now, thankfully. Moving around, as I said, I love the front design on these. We are going to be doing a lot of modifications to this, and I am going to run through, in the next video with the Civic, I'm going to run through everything wrong with it, because it's got a few issues. It is a project car. I knew that when I was buying it, so in the next video, we're going to be getting underneath it. We're going to run through every single problem it's got, but I just want to have a quick run through of what we got here. Salem tyres, they are definitely going to be going. These wheels, I'm not sure what they are. I'm assuming they're replicas and non-splits, but I do like the style, but I just don't think they suit a big coupe. They'd probably look better on the hatch. But again, thankfully now, all the cars I own are 4x100, so we've got a couple of things to choose from. Calipers just look like they've been painted red, so I'm assuming they're standard. And I don't know if I've mentioned this, but the thing I love about these, I love EG hatches, I love Civic hatches. But the thing that makes these so special, apologies for, yes, I've still got this stupid cough. The thing that makes these so special is the couped rear end. Find me a modern car that just looks that slick, that has aged that well. And I've just noticed on the video, it looks more blue. In person, it's got more of a green tint to it. Obviously, drums on the rear. If we are going turbo, we could probably, there are disc conversions you can get, but we'll look into that when we get there. Love this rear end. I definitely want a USDM number plate surround. I got a feeling I'm going to have to get one from America, which is a bit of a pain, but hey-ho. I really like how this sounds. Now, on one of my Civic coupes, I was a typical teenager thing, and I bought a full eBay exhaust, and it sounded terrible. I won't be making that mistake again. This is a bit of a mishmash, but it does sound quite good at the moment. Jumping inside, even the door handle is just so typical 90s Honda. Very annoying, but we've got grey door cards and a black dash. I don't know what's happened there. The rear quarter panels are black as well, so someone's had a bit of a switcheroo. And when was the last time we saw these? Good old windy windows. I don't mind that at all, but it makes me realise I've had some very well-spec'd ones in the past with electric sunroofs, electric windows, everything. But being sat in here, if any of you sat in a Civic, it even smells like a 90s Civic, which I absolutely love. And just seeing that dashboard just takes me back. And one of the things I really like, for anyone thinking of stealing it, it's got one of those funky immobilizers. They are fantastic, as long as they work, because if they go wrong, they're an absolute pig to get sorted. Got the armrest, which is a really rare option. Granted, it doesn't really fit, but like I said, we'll run through all of the issues in the next video. Gear linkage, it all feels very solid. I say driving it does feel fantastic. And like I said, for me, just looking around and seeing everything on the interior is amazing. So that is the introduction to my forever car. Yes, I am planning on keeping this, and my plans with this, once the MX-5 is to a point where I can call it a car again, this is going to be the next big project. I've been told by more than one person, Liam in work told me to not go as far with that, because I do want to actually drive and enjoy this car. So we're going to be doing a lot of fixes, modifications, which I'll run through in the next video, but I do want to do it as a nice big project as well, and obviously bring you guys along. So I got a feeling this might divide opinions. A lot of people don't even know what they are, so let me know in the comments what you all think of it. But for now, thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Boom.